When the dust gradually dissipates like a thin layer of mist surrounding the Panlord, it begins to shrink its tiny pairs of legs, hiding them all into its massive body covered by spiked scales, and then its whole body curls up into its spherical shape. When the whole team still cannot settle down, the sphere has already begun to move. While everyone is still scared to death, they suddenly hear Rin shouting, "Try it again!" Just for a moment, they saw the tip of the whip glowing in midair. It is shot out like a bullet. From behind, Rin is thrusting her whip. Her legs are also pressing firmly on the ground with an extraordinary power. The pen certainly doesn't concern about dodging or stopping. It ignores the whip and lets it wrap around its body. The whip tip flows away from Rin again like a small snake wraps around the ball and tightens the pan. At this time, the huge body of Panlord is repeatedly spinning in one place, and the speed of rotation is getting more powerful. The sound of the wind howling comes from the rotations. As the pan gradually reaches a higher speed, the dust beneath it splashes, and it begins to move. Rin uses all her strength. She clenches her fist to try to transmit more energy into the whip in the hope of stopping the movement of the pan. But the tug-of-war doesn't last long. The pan is like a giant prickly wheel pinching the ground. Its rolling force is too strong, adding to the massive size of the pan sphere, which makes the whip strings get tighter and tighter like a broken string. Without leaving her whip, Rin is dragged into the air by her obstinacy. On this side, Nick also immediately raises her magic sword, in the hope of assisting Rin to stop the Panlord. Despite her tiny body, Nick doesn't show any wavering or hesitation while facing the big, thorny pan. Panlord is on the fast roll. The increasing speed is getting closer and closer to the position of the obnoxious roadblocks, Nick. She is tightly clutching the sword covered with amplified energy. And yet, when Nick collides head-on with the rolling sphere, Nick is easily hit by the pan and knocked out. Boom! A loud noise comes out. Hearing the sound of human flesh being hit by something harder than a boulder is really an extremely painful experience for anyone. The moment when Nick's whole body bounces out of the rolling orbit is as gentle as the way Panlord has knocked the rocks in its way earlier. After the shock, Nick is thrown backwards and pitifully fell to the ground. The sword has been knocked further than its master, stabbed into the ground, and its energy is slowly fading away. In the air, Rin's body is thrown up and down, making her feel dizzy. The pain from the heavy impact is coming. Finally, she could not endure anymore and gives up. On the momentum, Rin's body flies away and hits the ground hard. The pain makes her almost unable to move. Her chest is weighed down by the heavy pressure, and her breath is blocked for a moment. From her ankles up to her shoulder, they are full of scratches. From a distance, seeing her friends wiped out at the same time makes Ari cannot keep calm anymore. "Rin! Nick!" She intends to engage in the fight, but is immediately stopped by the doctor. "Ari, stop!" Despite an emergency moment, the doctor's mind of him is still stabler than the three girls. Hearing his words, Ari realizes her haste and then stops. Her hand moves to take the cold tail part of the arrow on her back. She cannot stand still and see her ally in danger, so Ari decides to do something. "I will stop it." Then, latency time arrow once again stretches the bowstring and leaked out flows of blue energy everywhere. "You won't get enough time!" Standing not far away, Dung knew the arrow's ability the best and spoke up to stop it, but it was too late. As soon as the words ended, the arrow also left the bow at the same time, heading straight towards the target, which just swept the two teammates in front of her eyes. Unfortunately, Dung's prediction was completely correct. A meticulous plan like the last time that goes bankrupt from the beginning. How this time it can pave the way for the arrow to exert its destructive power. That powerful-looking arrow ends up being just like throwing a straw against the wind. It bounces back at the moment of reaching the Panlord sphere because the pan body is being a high speed supported by the rolling process. The high speed pluses that massive body once again exerts incredible power. The arrow carried by Ari hit the target but is completely useless. Consecutive failure gives them heebie-jeebies. Although the arrow didn't do any harm to the Panlord, it does remind the Pan that it had forgotten a hated enemy on the other side. Immediately, it changes direction extremely fast to attack Ari. Ari now is stunned and staring at the Panlord, unable to believe that all the efforts from the magical whip and the arrows are nullified so easily. She looks like being hypnotized. Her legs are stock still, and her eyes are glued to the giant roller that is rushing towards her. Boom! 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 In Ari's pupils, the image of Pan is magnified bigger and bigger until it almost swallows her. Then, Ari, move! A scream pulled Ari's soul back. Swoosh! Ripped! Thud! Dung Dung is right next to her. He promptly rushes over to hug Ari and rolls aside to avoid the blow. Even when they have not seen the figure of Fan yet, they have heard the wind whistling like a sandstorm. Pan grazes the two people and keeps rolling over about 500 meters further. Having just escaped from danger, Ari begins to face her true feelings. The optimistic, brave girl Ari at first now knows what it's like to be desperate, what it feels like when she has tried doing everything in many ways but still sees no results. Perhaps it is the most helpless moment that she realizes how small she is in this world. Ari gritted her teeth and trembled. How scary. Isn't there a way to defeat it? Although the whole process only lasts for a few seconds, the feeling of tremor is as long as time is frozen. Dung is now completely calm, then quickly stands up. Although he is the same age as everyone, being a mage makes it seem that it is not the first time he has faced such a formidable opponent. As he dusts off the dirt on his clothes, he says calmly, "What a redoubtable opponent. It has such speed and power thanks to its inertia when rolling. The Panlord is a cunning monster." He wipes the sweat off his face with his hand and breathes out. He continues, "It's completely superior to the small Pan and the big Pan we fought, in terms of intelligence and strength. It's not easy to be defeated if you just head in without preparation." When Dung slightly raises his head to look around, he catches the sight of the round body clumsily rushing over, the doctor's loud voice sounding. "Are you two okay?" Dung shakes his head, squats down, and starts drawing a plan on the ground. "Rin and Nick can no longer fight with us. Let's try something else. The Panlord is very difficult to deal with. We need a strategy to stop its speed. Dung tries to explain as briefly as possible. "Ari, you stay here and focus your energy on the arrow. When I give the signal to shoot, aim straight at me, okay?" Dung looks at Ari to emphasize once again. After saying that, Dung immediately turns to leave, leaving Ari dumbfounded as to what Dung's intentions are. Although she has complete confidence in him, hearing about the reckless strategy Dung has just said makes her bewildered, and she asks Dung again, "Targeting you? How's that?" "There's no time to explain, just trust me." Without looking back, Dung hurries in a different direction. Hearing this, Ari and the doctor just turn their heads over to look at each other. They exchange glances a little, then purse their lips and nod their heads in a consistent determination. For them, now there is nothing they can do apart from putting all their faith in Dung. "Hey, come at me now, asshole!" Once he's some distance away from the other two, Dung shouts and jumps up, while waving his hand continued to attract the attention of the Panlord. The dust has also dissipated, and with the provocation, it totally catches the Panlord's attention. Seeing the enemy right in front, Panlord immediately turns into an attack mode, curls up quickly and rolls over to Dung. Realizing that the Pan is approaching, the mage arches his legs and runs with all his strength. But soon the sphere of thorns is getting closer and closer to him. The ground shudders, brum, causing the rock bounces up and down as being on a drum. The sound of Pan's movement completely drowns out Dung's footsteps, rushing to escape and getting closer and closer as if it was right next to his ear. Without wavering at the sight of the enemy rushing towards him, Dung gives an implicit smile and throws a satisfied stare at Pan. Then he mutters to himself, I've been planning this for a long time. Now is the moment, you punk. 2 rows of metal wheels glitter out from the soles of his shoes. Doong stomps hard on the ground and then pushes his foot backwards to generate momentum. The whole Doong's body leans forward slightly, then he suddenly glides away as fast as he is pushed by the wind. The speed is faster than jogging. Only the sound of wind could be heard, which is crossing his ears. The faster he runs, the more blurred the silhouettes of the landscape on both sides become. Quick skates help Doong to a far enough distance from the panlord. The more the pan chases, the angrier it becomes. With it, there is nothing more desirable than Doom now. It hisses indescribably scared sounds and speeds up trying to catch up with Doom. Seeing the panlord gradually approaches closer to him, Doom accelerates and tries its best to extend the distance. He slides as fast as he can. His hands clench, and then he lowers his upper body and leans forward. His ears are ringing with murmurs from the wind.
Climax, drama, pan after pan, little ones then big ones show up continuously. Until when can they end the fight against this cunning monster family? It even rolls like a donut? Panlord thought, just warm up for a few seconds, which made 2 players knocked out. 5 minutes is too much to wipe out all of them. Then back for the dinner with kids. Despite what Doong and Ari were planning with an arrow and a pair of skates, Panlord didn't seem to spare them in a full body. Today's storytelling time with KinhComic has come to an end here. See you all when chapter 5.2 of KinhWorld is released. It surely won't let you down. Looking forward to seeing you again on our channel next time. If you love storytelling time with KinhComic, don't hesitate to click the subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss the chapter 5.2 release time. Soon, that's it. KinhWorld close.
KinhComic.